Hello, everyone. This is Jules with Starcaster Radio, and I have Erica, Naomi, and Barbara with me today. And we are just so excited to get to spend this time with you, just connecting and creating this Star community as we step onto the New Earth platform and create heaven on earth. And today we're going to start with a reading from the Key of Enoch. And I am just randomly opening a page here. So I am on page 281 on paragraph 24. Okay, so thus the physical body, which is re-energized on the other side of light, will be used by those triumphant beings who will receive new instructions and return with their physical vehicle to serve other dust world creations. Others will use the perfect body of light to evolve into the higher worlds, which no longer have need for physical form, or they will exist in bodies of masters of light. This type of biological embodiment is the physics of metatronic energy, which is used to cross-match the lower genetic forms of life with the higher genetic forms of light through crystalline light channels of vibrations. This is done to help evolve intelligence in star systems in the lower heavens. Because of the fallen angels, the Father has declared no planetary society should take upon itself to cross-match a species with another species or seed an evolving planet. Therefore, cross-matching should only be done by the Lords of Light, who are assigned by the Father to remake the subspecies into the great white light. This is a decree of the Father's will, so that planetary intelligence does not follow in the ways of fallen angels by creating species with grotesque bodies and warlike minds, who lack the spiritual love working from their fellow species in the universe of the Father. Every star evolution is on the fallacy of light, which determines its own evolutionary program, its own light time zone. Okay, I'm just going to skip up to this one little part. Actually, I'm just going to read two more paragraphs here. Time is within the consciousness of the people, literally within the structure of the chromosomes. The chromosomes are keyed into the light time zone. The light time zone is the geometry of time factor, which strips the chromosomes to live and generate. Only when the chromosomes can go past light time zones can they proceed to evolve into the higher body of light, the body of Adam Kodam creation. All right, that was super cool.
That's really cool. That was chill.
Whoa. Yep. Well, it also validates to me the belief I've always had that originally man was created by actually a species, another species from another planet, and they created us as a slave race, which, as Enoch was saying, was against the law. And I believe that is why we're being allowed then to move into our light bodies during this time and space on planet Earth, rather than actually our bodies dying. We're allowed to take our bodies through the light, because we have been in this war basically for a good long while between light and dark, and trying to get back to the Creator when we have been manipulated. Our chromosomes and our genetics have been manipulated by this other species who has actually went against the law of one. So that really validates it to me for a belief I've had all my life.
Can we take this time to ask for a download for our chromosomes? Something about our chromosomes.
Well, Julie,
Sure.
what about the duality?
Yeah, I think, I love
That's
that
what
thing
comes
about the
with me.
chromosomes too. Yeah, do you want to go ahead and go into the astrology, Erica, and then we'll just move right into the duality?
Absolutely, because it all, it's not ironic that this all ties together, right? So today is October 2nd, and this will be aired on October 5th. But what's really important about today and tomorrow is that Pluto goes direct, and Pluto goes direct in Capricorn. And so Pluto, which everyone knows is the smallest planet in our solar system, it actually rules over death, rebirth, power, and our shadow side, the darker side that lies within all of us. And Pluto also represents the higher realms of consciousness and keeps us transforming and shifting to higher states of awareness. So though it's small in size, it's a power planet. Pluto is a power planet. So we feel the energy deep in our soul. And Pluto works below the surface in the dark, hidden depths where it weaves its magical powers to affect the world and everything that it, can grasp. So similar to when Saturn just went direct, we just had that a couple weeks ago. Pluto went direct today and tomorrow, but it was also retrograde back in April. Probably April 24th is when it started. And what's neat about Pluto is that it spends half of each year in retrograde and the other half direct. So what that means is that Pluto rules the subconscious. So when it goes into retrograde, it's our time for personal growth. It actually makes us face the hard facts of our truths and our lies within. It's a time to where it'll bring awareness to areas in our life where we're treading murky waters, such as challenges, relationships, power plays, money, work. And also by going retrograde, it allows ourselves the chance to transform, to change, and to awaken those urges and desires that we need in order to change the things that we don't like within ourselves. So with Pluto going direct, it's going to connect everything back to whatever was troubling us these last 6 months, and it's going to make it come to the surface again in order for us to shift and transform. So we just have to trust that the inner work that we did these last 6 months, we now have to let it go so we can make room for more things to be revealed. And so in a lot of ways, Pluto kind of wants you to get real with yourself, to claim back your power, and to remember who you are and not to play small anymore. Because Pluto is so important to know that its true power comes when we own all of ourselves, the light and the dark sides of ourselves, the good and the bad, the dueling parts of ourselves. And it asks us to give it a big, giant, warm hug to our deepest and darkest aspects so that we can come to terms with the truth of our own actions. And what's awesome about Pluto going direct in Capricorn is that it's during the month of October, and October is the Libra sign, and Libra is ruled by Venus, and Venus essentially is focused on relationships. So it's going to focus on what triggers us in relationships, and not necessarily by what others do to us, but rather our reaction to how others treat us and to what others do to us. And so what that does is it's going to hold a mirror up to reflect our own actions in relation to everybody around us. So what's the coolest thing about this is that when Pluto went direct and Saturn went direct, and Pluto entered Capricorn in 2008, and it's going to leave Capricorn in 2023. And as it's coming to an end, this gives me full body chills, it's going to connect with Saturn. And so in January 2020, which is going to be such a powerful month, Pluto, the Lord of the underworld, is going to face Saturn, the Lord of karma. And it's going to be such a magical, powerful time. So right now, we just need to own ourselves, be honest with ourselves, be okay with the good, the bad, and the ugly, and love it no matter what. And that's your astrology report.
Non-judgment.
Non-judgment.
Wow.
Right? Julie, this is exactly what we talked about yesterday.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay. It explains a lot to me that, from what's been happening in our lives, and my husband and I, and how we're going through this, and that really does explain it. So thank you, Erica.
Yeah. So we were, Erica and I were talking about yesterday just about the energy and how everything is about, goes back to love and self-love and, and not judging or, because I think it's so often we go to this place of like, oh, I messed up, or oh, I did something wrong, and our frequency lowers because we have this like underlying energy of shame. And I don't know, maybe a little bit of just like kind of reflected in, so many of our lives. That's kind of like how so many of us were disciplined as we grew up, is that we were shamed when we did something wrong. And now, moving into these higher dimensions, of course, that doesn't fit in at all. And just moving into that frequency of self-love, but also releasing that frequency that we tend to think that underneath it all that there's something like almost like we were born defective, kind of, or we were born bad.
Yeah, exactly. And we're breaking those illusions. We weren't born into sin. We're not born bad. We're not born at fault or accountable or evil. We're born pure. And it's our way of finding our way back to that purest form of self-love in the very love and light that we were created.
And it also goes back to the keys of Enoch, what you were just describing there, how that species infused into our DNA, into our beingness, into our psyche, that we're not good enough. I can't even think the word. We're flawed, and given us that unsure aspect and that guilt aspect that we've carried all throughout the generations up until this time. And it was done to control us. And because if you look at society right now, that's the exact same techniques they use in order to control a crowd, in order to control a country. So if we peel the onion away, we can understand how all of this has come about. And once you understand that you are not flawed, you're a pure being, and that we don't have to accept that programming and see it for what it is. And once you see it for what it is, it breaks the hold that programmed, I'm losing my words, but that program has had upon your belief system.
Were you going to say something earlier, Naomi, about the chromosomes? Because I feel like we should be asking for a clearing of just this program altogether.
Yes, I was, but this is absolutely perfect because this is adding on to it. So I think we need to ask for a rewiring in our brain to where when we feel that program of shame, we can actually, so that we can recognize this and give ourselves self-love down to our chromosomes. And our chromosomes can actually assist in rewiring the brain.
I love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love that too.
So let's just take a minute and just, just know that this is already happening and we're already being rewired, but just take a moment to witness it in our bodies.
And I'm looking at the clock, and it is 11:11.
Wow.
Right.
Perfect.
Yeah, that's powerful.
Yes.
I love you all so much.
Oh.
I almost called you guys. I almost called y'all this morning because I had so much love in my heart. I didn't even know what to do with it because it felt like I was going to explode. But it was like early on the East Coast. Like I couldn't call because on the East Coast it was like 6. But if it weren't like so early, I would have called and been like, oh my gosh, help me. What do I do with all of this love?
That is the perfect example, Erica, of like what we've been talking about, which just is energies coming in, how they're so intense that we want to do something to like release it or to let it flow through. And what's being called is that we actually hold it. And I know we've had this happen in the past, Naomi, but it's really hard to like not want to release the energy that as it builds up. But that's what we're supposed to do, is to not like find an outlet to release it, but to allow it to resonate in our bodies.
And slow down and breathe it in, because that's what my dreams keep showing me, is that I keep trying to go faster because the energies are increasing and they're coming in at a faster rate. But the message that I'm getting is to slow down, like let it simmer, let it rest, breathe, and let it become my body. Let it become my chromosomes. Let it become my light, and then it'll pass through as it needs to.
Oh, my goodness. Thank you so much. So when this sensation comes that I just want to release, like this orgasmic sensation I want to release, and I feel it, I'm just going to say, like, this is rewiring your brain. This is rewiring your heart. This is, like, creating your light body.
Yep.
Yes. And I noticed that mine comes out with emotion. Mine comes out with this overwhelming feeling in my chest, around my heart, that it's growing and it's getting big. And that, when I release that, I cry, and I can't stop it. And it's like my body isn't to the point yet where it can contain this emotion, and it has to come out somehow, and that's how it comes out. I cry. And I feel so silly because I'm sitting over there, and it's just maybe it's nothing that you would think, well, why is she crying? All I can say is it stimulates a feeling in my body that is overwhelming, and it has to be released, and I release it in crying.
Well, and I want to share that with my significant other, my sweet Jake. He gets grumpy. He's uncomfortable and grumpy and hard to be around. And I know he's shifting, and I try to hold the space for it. But it's uncomfortable because there are men that don't express emotion. He expresses anger quite well, but he doesn't necessarily express tears. And he's also very affectionate and very loving. But when I witness him go through a shift, I don't judge it. I don't apologize for it. I don't try to make it better. I let him be grumpy. And I let him figure out how he needs to work it through his body. So, as I've shared with some of you, yesterday he built pyramids for me. I didn't even ask him. He just channeled it through making pyramids. And then today he went fishing because that's how he needs to let it sit in his body. So, I'm also like you, Barbara, where I get tears and I get emotional, but I'm with loved ones that get super grumpy and super uncomfortable and super fussy. So it can be the opposite, like the dualities of different emotions coming through because of what they're feeling on the inside.
Yes, and my husband does the same thing. I think that's probably a pattern with most men, is because they don't feel comfortable with crying. And so they have to release that energy some way, and it comes out in fear, anger, just being grumpy, just not wanting to interact. That's when I tell my husband, it's time for you to go out to your little man cave and play with something, build something, do something with that energy. So that's what he does. That's where he's at now. Yeah. He's been sent to the man cave.
Oh my gosh, thank you guys for this so much, because when I experienced this with my family, now after I realize this, I'm just going to shower them with unconditional love, even if I'm feeling a little uncomfortable for them. At least now I know where it's coming from, and I don't have to take it personal.
Right. Don't take it on. You don't have to even take it on. Like I find myself sometimes taking it on, and I'm like, wait, this isn't me. I'm not feeling me right now. That's what they're feeling. Let them have that.
Yes, and if it gets too uncomfortable for me, and I feel like my arc field is being attacked, and I don't feel strong enough to fend off the attack and feel and send out love and energy, which when you're being really attacked, it's hard to do that. So in order to give us space, that's what our little thing is, okay, I'm going to go to my art room. You why don't you go figure out something you can do, get active, or whatever. That's kind of our little give ourselves space until we can come together again.
I love that.
That's the way we interact, and it works pretty good. You know, we have just decided that we don't want to interact in a negative way, and if we feel like we're going to that space, then we need to get some space between us so that our different energies, our energies can balance itself out rather than bumping heads or, butting heads.
And I'm going to bring it back to the fact that we're in the month of October, which is Libra, which is ruled by Venus, which is all about relationships. So for everyone listening, if relationships around you, loved ones, coworkers, friends, if things start to trigger inside of you, think if that's really you. Think if it's their energy, hold the space to let them feel their energy, separate yourself from the energy, and find a really amazing way to embrace it with love and not let it affect you. That's a really awesome way to rewire the way you react to others.
Good information. Thank you.
I was actually thinking that when Barbara was talking that it's actually so cool that you're able to identify that you're escalating to a place where you know that you're going to have confrontation or whatever it is, because that actually takes some discipline to be able to stop that chemical response and be like, nope, we're not going to go here. And that's really cool that you guys can both do that and not. Because I think the normal reaction, if we're in the animal part of the brain, is fight, flight, or flee. But for both of you to just have this agreement of let's wait till we calm down and then we'll talk from a place of love is amazing.
Well, we've been married for 55 years, so it didn't happen overnight, trust me. But it's something that we have had to work hard and long through, but we have both identified the fact that we don't like that feeling of anger, and we don't like the feeling of being alienated from each other, and that how can we fix this and how can we work through this? And that's been kind of our game plan. This is it. Some people count to 10 or 20 before they speak. Well, that doesn't work so well for us because we're both kind of, what would you say, alpha individuals. So right. I think each couple has something that, according to their personalities. But like you said, the main thing is being able to identify and figure out how can we fix this without the anger.
Mm-hmm. I'm feeling so peaceful right now, just like
me
talking about.
Right. I think that's what we're all feeling. Just it's kind of like the feeling of understanding something that maybe has been difficult for us to understand, and all of a sudden it's like the light bulb comes on, and it's like a peaceful feeling, because it's almost like before, for me, I felt like I was lost when this would happen. It was like, why am I here? Why am I doing this? I don't want to do this anymore, but there's a reason, always a reason. And I was searching for the longest time for that reason of, why did I marry this man? He's really making me uncomfortable. I don't like this. And many times I really was I was done. That's it. I can't take this energy anymore. I'm leaving. But always something told me, no, you have to work through this. You didn't marry this person for no reason. And so it told me then, you've got to get your big girl pants on and figure out what you can do to make this relationship work, because I did love him, but I didn't love his personality, and I didn't love his energy. So the core of the whole thing was, for me, is I had to work through this, because I had been many lifetimes with this person, going through many of the same things we were going through, which in the past I had walked away. I let my anger overcome me. I let my fear and jealousy overcome me. I did not choose to stand in the relationship. I chose to leave. So this time I decided, I guess I had given myself an ultimatum. This time I was going to work through the karma and the relationship. And it wasn't easy. It was very, very difficult. But considering the fact that I was given the personality of being very headstrong and hard-headed, I did go ahead and but he did too. You know, he had to make that commitment. You can't make it by yourself. And so it was beneficial for both of us because we have cleared a lot of karma between us in this lifetime. And I feel very balanced with the thought pattern that now we are ready to move into our light bodies and move on into a different place, a different existence in peace.
Oh, hallelujah.
Yeah. Thank you for your honesty. That was beautiful, Barbara, because I think all of us experience that with a relationship in our lives. And it is easy to walk away. It's easier to walk away. And what you chose is so empowering. And I think as we step into our own, like as we own ourselves, good and bad, it's so empowering. And as we learn to love our bad and embrace our bad, you know, because we all have it within us. It's dark and light. We're duality. Like we're all part of it. It just makes us that much more powerful, and it just makes our light shine that much brighter and just confirms that we're not alone. We're all in this together, and we're all journeying this together as one through unity consciousness.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Wow. I'm just kind of speechless.
Yeah. It's relationships will make you speechless, that's for sure. And it's just it's the path that we chose to walk. So we have to decide how we're going to walk.
Have a human experience.
Right.
Yeah,
that's what it is.
Yeah, it's here choosing to have that human experience so that we can rise together.
Right. Yes, and sometimes you for whatever your past is, however you've been linked in other past lives, and whatever you have gone through in those past lives makes the determination of whether or not you stay with that person. Because I'm not by any means saying that if you divorce or if you choose not to stay with a person and you've done wrong and you've chosen not to follow your path, that's not it at all. That was the situation between me and my husband because we chose to do that in this lifetime. So if for some reason your relationship doesn't work out, then I believe that it is probably a mutual agreement, and whatever you got from that relationship before you left that relationship was valuable for both parties. But that doesn't mean you have to live your whole life with that particular person. So I don't want any misunderstanding that I'm making some judgment on that, because I'm not. Every individual, every relationship is totally different, and you do things for the whatever you have chosen and agreed to do with that person.
That takes all the self-judgment out of it.
Right.
Yes.
And by no means it wasn't taken on as judgment, Barbara. Like there was everything that you shared was so pure in love. There was no judgment in that. And I don't think anybody that's listening to this will take that on as judgment. I mean, because I'm divorced, I've walked away from many relationships, and there's clearly no judgment in that. Like I just loved your honesty.
Well, thank you. I just wanted to make sure that in case I didn't express myself or something, that no one could take that as me judging them for not staying in a relationship. But hopefully, I think all of our conversations and the subject matters that we talk about and our life experiences and how we've walked through it is beneficial to someone who is going to listen. And if it's only beneficial to one person, we have done our job. So I think that's what's so cool about this podcast is we don't have any platform or anything that we're going to decide it as a rule that we're going to discuss. It just organically unfolds as what I believe our audience, whoever's listening to it, is needing at the time.
And it's so intimate. Like, I feel like we're just going through all these new frequencies and we're sharing it together, and there's like such intimacy in that, and just allowing like these intimate feelings even to be released. I just feel I don't know, talking to you guys about this stuff, just so much more honest, even with myself.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, because I think what the bottom line is that we're all one. So we're all, as one entity, affects the other entities, whether we're in direct contact with them or not. So when we share our experiences, it elevates other people who hear that and need to hear that for whatever reason. So that's what I feel like our whole purpose here is just to share, and whatever understanding or perception, whatever, like with Erica, when she shares the astrology with us, that it answers a bunch of questions. When we read from Enoch, when you do the affirmations and we do the downloads and all that stuff, it's like we're whole. Each one of us is individual, but we're whole. And as we share this with all those that are out there listening, they become a more integral part of the whole. And the more we do that, the more they share, the more the ones they share with share, we become one body.
The reunion.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
The connections, yes.
It makes me think of that church song, "We are many parts, but we are all one body." And the gifts we have,
yes,
we are given to share.
Right. And if you take that above and beyond the song like you just did, it answers the questions to what we're all going through.
I love it. I feel like we should end with a unity prayer.
Yeah.
Does anybody have anything with that? Naomi, you're so good with prayers. Do you have anything around that? Not to put you on the spot or anything.
Julie, why don't you do it? I'm just drawing kind of a blank in this energy.
Oh my gosh, I feel I don't know, ever since we did that download of clearing our chromosomes, I just can't even think. I've been so quiet because I'm just so just not grounded at all. Okay, I can do this though. All right, so
I can try. Because we can.
Oh, do you want to try?
I can try,
That
Julie.
would be wonderful.
Yeah, because I really think we need to end it on that song because there's so much experience. There's so much going on, right? I mean, I'm having a hard time finding words too, but I'm just being overcome with this song, and I just feel like together we stand on the New Earth platform in unity, in solidarity, as one, knowing that we are many parts, we are all one body, we were given the gifts to share. Make the spirit of love make us one in peace, for the love that we share, for the light in despair, for our hopes in the air. I love you. Mm-hmm. It is done. Thank you.
I love you.
Amen.
Oh,
beautiful. That was so beautiful. I want you to do it again.
I love you all.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you all for being here today, and we're sending you all big, huge hugs as we leave in this heart space and just unity consciousness. Love you all. Namaste.
Namaste.